You know what? I don't think that if Leica ever make a cine camera, it has to be extremely expensive. I think that first of all, there will be a newcomer, and there are very good cameras, cine cameras already in the market, and more are coming. So first of all, they need to compete. And the second thing is the targeted audience right now for the photo or mirrorless cameras will be different than cine camera potential buyers. So if their cameras are very popular in Japan and in China and other parts in the world, but they are, people are willing to pay for the red badge.
Yeah, no, it's almost a lifestyle object, having it around your shoulder and showing, you have a Leica.
What's new in filmmaking technology this week? News, reviews, education, insights, opinions, and ideas from the CineD newsroom with Mino Leitner and Johnny Bahiri. This is Focus Check, the weekly Cinetech podcast.
Hi guys, I'm Johnny and welcome to our Focus Check. This is our great podcast and this is now episode 43. Amazing how the time is flying, and I'm here with Felix. Felix is our podcast producer, but of course he's doing some other stuff in life. Felix, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi Johnny. It's nice to be here. This time on that side of the camera. It's a bit unusual for me, but looking forward.
Tell me a little bit about, just for the audience, what are you doing in life?
Well, I worked now for 7 years for a microphone manufacturer, and I worked there in marketing and produced also a lot of content for them. Since a while, I'm also working with you guys for this great podcast here, and I'm very enjoying it and looking forward to this episode today.
Good. So we will discuss some stuff together, but first of all, let's talk about our holiday giveaway. Why am I mentioning this? Because, of course, it's end of the year, and here at CineD, we've been in the market of producing content for more than 16 years. And without you guys, of course, we would have been nowhere, and we are very happy where we are. But every time that we can give something back to the community, we're happy to do so. And this time, we teamed up with Axun, KMTV, Digital Photo, DOP Choice, DZO Film, Freewell, K&F Concept, and Lightbridge to bring you prizes worth of more than $20,000. This is quite amazing.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, very nice. I mean, those companies were very generous to give those prizes. And the idea is that there are 32 ways to win those prizes. There are 32 prizes. So the chances are really big. All you need to do is head to our to the link. You can see this in the show notes. There are some questions. It's not that easy. A little bit time consuming, but believe me, it's worth it. And what you can have, you'll see in the show notes what you can win. And you have the time until January 9th. That's when we are closing this kind of giveaway contest. And the winners will be announced a week later. Felix, anything that you saw in this list that you would love to have?
I mean, I'm just checking out all the prizes, and it's quite difficult to choose what I would like. But I mean, to be honest, the most nicest thing would be the DZO film lens, probably.
For you?
For me, yeah.
Yeah, it really depends what you do, guys.
Exactly.
Some people like the lenses. I think they are really great tripods, lights solutions, filter solutions, bags, and of course, transmitting solutions. So everybody's a bit different, but in any case, just try your luck. So this is about our giveaway, end of the year giveaway, and we would love to see you participating. By the way, we announced this, by the time that this episode is out, it will be 3 days ago. We already have thousands of people registering, just that you know, but still the chances are high, yeah. Good, let's move on and talk about what we're gonna have today. So first of all, finally, I know some of you have been asking, I will have the LUMIX GH7 review out. Now, it's a kind of a review. The camera is not new in the market. So, of course, it doesn't make any sense to talk about specifications. The GH7 is actually one of our cameras of the years. Yeah, this is like for what we call full body mirrorless camera. Yeah, we had the Fujifilm X-M5 for the compact one, but for the, let me start again. So let's move on, and what's next? Finally, I'll be out with our GH7 review. And this is not really a review in the sense of talking about specifications, because the camera has been out for quite a time. And what I want to show is mostly footage. Yeah. But for the sake of this review, I want to say that I worked with the 12 to 16 millimeter Panasonic Leica lens. This is kind of a standard lens. That was the idea, to work with something normal. Yeah, this is not a very expensive zoom lens. And then, in order to add a little bit more in terms of look, I used the BLAZAR Narrow. This is a 1.5 squeeze anamorphic adapter. And the beauty of this little kit is that I could work with autofocus. Mm-hmm. And I was relatively lightweight. And I also, that's how the whole thing started. I really wanted to see what happened if I work with the ARRI Log C3, because this is new. I mean, working with Vlog is sometimes very difficult for me personally when it comes to color grading, especially faces. And the ARRI Log C3, I was very curious to see if that gives me like a little bit of a different way to grade. And by the way, the ARRI Log C3 is a paid update. I think it's almost like $200.
How much? Okay, $200.
If I'm not mistaken, mm-hmm. Yeah. So maybe it's not for everyone, but if you do get this update, there are like 48 custom-made LUTs from ARRI that you can use instantly on the camera, and that's what I did in this review. You will see that I tried different ways to grade. Most of them I really like. The footage came out, I think, quite nice, and I was actually filming this mini documentary in Takeno, which is a small fisherman town in Japan. Very quiet. That was just before summer vacation started, and this is such a place. It's like total nirvana. I mean, forget Tokyo, forget mm-hmm. Osaka. It feels like end of the world, and it was very nice. And I was actually, I met a couple. They have a guest house over there, and they were just very nice people. Yeah, the husband is in charge on the kind of the bar and hosting the people, and the wife is in charge of the food. And they have 3 kids, so it's a kind of a full house. It's always very, very busy. I hope you'll get the atmosphere. But if you're really into relaxing just before the holiday, and if you're already done with buying presents, I think it's a good chance to kind of relax and see this mini documentary. Now, one of the benefits of working with this camera, it also has, where is this now? This XLR adapter, and the XLR adapter has give you the possibility to work in 32-bit float audio recording. You can do this only with this adapter. Otherwise, you can of course record directly to the camera, but then you cannot use this option. But with 32-bit float, you have a lot of advantages. So
I think it's the first camera that has even this possibility to record internally 32-bit float, and I think it's a very nice feature that I think hopefully a lot of other cameras manufacturers will also start to implement. But I think it's very nice, especially in the domain of documentary and stuff, because I think when you one-man show, you are doing the shooting and you need to record the audio, maybe even conduct the interview or so. It's really helpful because you don't need to take care or think about, or did I set the gain correctly? Because what 32-bit float is basically, it allows you to have a huge dynamic range of the audio. So it doesn't matter if you set the gain correctly in the first instance, you can basically recover all the audio that is maybe clipped. You can record a whisper up to a jet engine, and it will all be contained in this 32-bit float container. And in post, you can just kind of adjust the gain without having issues of distorting or having noise in the signal and stuff. So I think it's really a nice feature, and I think a lot of microphones that came out recently have this feature, but it's basically the first camera that has this option to record like with the top handle internally, this 32-bit float. And
I mean, I have to say, as a documentary filmmaker, I really enjoyed this feature with the GH7, but also with the Osmo Pocket 3, together with this DJI Mic 2. It's almost like a lifesaver. It's one less thing that you or I have to worry about when running and gunning. It's very easy to recover the proper sound. I tried this with various scenarios, including drumming and so on. Easy, very easy.
I think for that it's a great feature, and I hopefully, as mentioned already, that a lot of other manufacturers trying to implement this in their cameras as an internal recording, audio recording, because it's just
in general, I think that as we said before, there are no bad cameras, and audio is one of those ways that manufacturers can still innovate. Yeah, that's right. So now we see this from Panasonic. The first time, I mean, they have the adapter that allows this 32-bit float recording. Hopefully, it will come also to the camera itself one day. Now, Felix, tell me, because it took some time for manufacturers to implement 32-bit recording, float recording into microphones. Is this more? Is it difficult? Is it more expensive for them? What's the reason? Do you know?
I mean, it's actually funny because it's not such a new technology. This 32-bit float is already out since a while. But the difference is that now there are recorders that can kind of handle this 32-bit float. And it works basically like this. You have a preamp, and behind the preamp you have an ADC, so an analog to digital converter. And with 32-bit float, you have several of these ADCs, so they are stacked over each other. And this gives you this huge amount of dynamic range in the audio, because with normal recording, 24-bit, for example, you have a dynamic range from 140 dB or something. And I think with 32-bit float, it's I don't know the exact number, but it's much more. So.
But do you know if it's just a more expensive technology? Because we see Rode, we see Saramonic, we see DJI. I hope I didn't forget any kind of affordable devices coming up with those 32-bit float recorders. But of course, Zoom we have also, and maybe Tascam too. But do you know if it's much more expensive to manufacture?
I think it's a bit more expensive because you need several of these ADCs, of these converters. But I mean, this is, and of course, it's maybe a bit of engineering challenge. But besides that, I think it's not that much more expensive. I think it's not like a huge price difference, I would say. But
for me personally, again, when I'm running and gunning, there are two main aspects that I'm now looking in all those portable wireless devices. One is the 32-bit float, and the other is internal recording. So at least on the transmitter, because then I have a hard copy, meaning if something happens and when I'm transmitting to the camera, if there's any issue whatsoever, I have a hard copy. And this is really became for me the two most important elements when I'm choosing any wireless device. Good. Anything else to say about 32-bit float recording before we move on?
I think it's a great technology. Sometimes I have the feeling a bit that it can be also a trap sometimes.
Why?
Sometimes people believe that it's 32-bit float, nothing can go wrong. And to a certain point, this is also true. Because, you don't need to, you can't mess up the gain. But still take care how you place the microphone. If you can, monitor the audio, because sometimes with this clip-on mics you get rumble from the cloths, and I think this is still to consider. So it's a super nice technology, and it takes away this. Did I set the gain right? But don't trust it fully. It's not like the holy grail of everything. So you need to be still careful about audio because it's just important. And
Okay, here's a free advice. We love,
exactly.
we love free stuff. Yeah. Good. Let's move on. And this week, we actually published a poll. And the poll this time was about if you guys would like Leica to come out with a dedicated cine camera. The idea was very simple. We see so many companies coming out with or announcing cine cameras. The last one was Fujifilm with the GFX Eterna filmmaking camera. And then we were kind of looking around and say, okay, so who, like a well-known brand that still doesn't have a cine camera? And of course, Leica jumped in my mind, and we conducted this poll. And we literally asked 3 simple questions. One, if you guys would love to see a Leica cine camera. Second question is, Leica is great for photography, but for cine? And then another cine camera, who needs this? So I'm happy to say that so far, the article has been online for, 2 days or something. We have close to 400 people that voted. And so far you can see that actually it's quite interesting to see. We have 155 votes. That's 42% of people that would love to see a Leica cine camera. Then there are 123 people. That's like 33% that kind of claim that who needs another cine camera. And there are 91 votes, roughly 25% saying Leica is great for photography, but for cine.
Yeah,
and Felix, how do you feel about this? Do you know the brand a little bit? If not,
of course, I know the brand in the photography domain, first of all, and I'm curious a bit. How would you imagine a cine camera from Leica? Because I know the brand, and I think they are well known for their minimalistic design, like the haptics and everything is very nice. Always with their photography cameras, but kind of adapting this to the cinema world, I don't know. How would you imagine this? How could this camera from Leica look like?
So there are 2 things. First of all, it's no secret that Leica and Panasonic are collaborating. Yeah, they have this L2 cooperation,
Alliance.
which is different than the L-mount alliance, which is together with Sigma. This is more about lenses, but the L2 alliance is really Leica and Panasonic. They're working together, developing stuff and so on. So on one hand, it's really great that those companies are cooperating because they exchange knowledge and they can build stuff together, and they can also lower prices of components and technologies and so on. On the other hand, maybe this is the biggest disadvantage for Leica in particular, because from the marketing perspective, many people are thinking that Leica cameras are actually a Panasonic rebranded, more expensive tools, which is not the case, or not always the case, because the software design, some of the hardware might be the same.
Some components maybe, but I think the firmware and all these special things where also Leica comes through and has a very distinct and own style. I think that's
true. So a lot of the development, like everything that has to do with the software or implementing some stuff, is being done separately. And when you ask me how do I see a Leica cine camera, or what will be the unique selling point, from my experience, I think it was already over 10 years ago. I think when the original SL Type 601 camera came to the market. That particular camera had an amazing image. It was already 4K, and I worked with it out of the box, and literally I was so astonished to see the footage. It's one of those cameras when you just take it out of the box and you film with it, and the aesthetic, the picture aesthetic, is very filmic. So I really tried to dive to understand what happened. I'm talking about 10 years ago. I talked to, actually it's 9 years ago. I talked to the person in charge in Leica. He is no longer working with the company, but he said that the camera had no noise reduction implemented. So literally you were able to get a lot from the sensor. And that brought also some very nice noise and other features that were contributed to this kind of film look.
Yeah, I think it's nice because there is noise and there is noise. It can be also nice, of course, in a camera that when you have this nice organically looking noise in the footage, I think this is something that can look nice. And I think Leica has a very distinct look also with the pictures that you get out of this camera normally.
That's right.
And I think they will probably do the same, hopefully do the same for a cinema camera.
If ever. I mean, it has to be very clear that we are not associated with Leica and we're not asking these questions in their behalf or anything. That was really our pure curiosity. But then they moved on to the SL2, SL2S, and the latest one was the SL3. We tested the SL2 and the SL2S, and then the picture already looked different. So when I tried to investigate why it looks different, why some of the aesthetics was kind of lost on the way, the answer was that in those cameras, you do have noise reduction implemented. You can control the level, but you cannot turn it off. So that was the big change. So I hope if in the future they will decide to come with a Cine camera, hopefully they will consider really to disable the noise reduction and really concentrate on what they can do best, which is some aesthetic to the picture. But interesting. I mean, let's see. It's like everybody's looking for ways to do more and earn money.
Exactly. I mean, it would be very interesting to see. One thing that I think it could be a bit tricky, or what do you think? Where would be the price point of that camera? This is maybe a bit tricky for Leica then to find a good spot for them, as the photo cameras are already quite on a higher price end. And I think with the Cine cameras, they would need to follow this concept a bit. But I don't know. Maybe I'm also wrong. But it's just this will be a next difficult challenge for them probably to.
You know what? I don't think that if Leica ever make a Cine camera, it has to be extremely expensive. I think that first of all there will be a newcomer, and there are very good cameras, Cine cameras already in the market, and more coming. So first of all, they need to compete, and the second thing is the targeted audience right now for the photo or mirrorless cameras will be different than Cine camera potential buyers. So if their cameras are very popular in Japan and in China and other parts in the world, but they are, people are willing to pay for the red badge.
Yeah, no, it's almost a lifestyle object, having it around your shoulder and showing, you have a Leica. And I think a lot of photographer, it's really like
that's right. And I think if they move to Cine, that aspect will not be there, because I'm not so sure that people who are dealing like production houses or customers, whatever, if you come with a Leica Cine camera and if they see the badge, I don't think that will contribute in any way to the, hey, look at me, I'm shooting with a Leica Cine camera. Yeah, so I think if they will do this, my hope that if they will enter this market, they will come in a humble way, and of course they would like actually to earn money, and I think the camera will have to be actually very well priced.
Yeah, no, but sounds interesting. Looking forward to the final results then in the end, and let's see what Leica does.
I hope they read it. I really hope they read this poll, and maybe somebody in the office sits and say, "Hey, that's a great idea. People want to see our Cine camera. What can we do for 2025?"
Yeah, it would be great.
Yeah.
1 minute tips by Fujifilm and CineD. Let's talk more organization and prep. There's ways that we can prep ourselves before production, but there's also ways we can set ourselves up for success in the post-process. Firstly, before rolling your first clip, take the time to set your camera metadata, such as date and time. Then set your file name data to reflect whether you're using A or B cam, and reset the clip counter. This will tremendously help you or your editor in post to keep things organized and sequential. Then, when you're organizing your file system on a hard drive, make sure to create a separate blank template folder that has the folder tree so you can replicate it for every project. Lastly, mirror that same folder structure inside of your editor software so that it's easy to locate imported files. For example, on my drive, I have folder 1 as projects, 2 as media, 3 as assets, and in Resolve or Premiere, I have bin 1 sequences, 2 media, 3 assets. Hope this helps you stay organized. 1-minute tips. Until next time.
So let's move on to some other news that we had this week. And the first thing is about Nikon Z9 firmware update 5.10. This is quite amazing. First of all, that camera is already in the market since 2021.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Actually, you can watch a review that we made around that time. Very nice camera, heavy, robust, but it can do so many things, including recording 2 types of RAW internally and so on. But the nice thing about this camera that really Nikon keeps bringing free firmware updates to the camera, and it always gives new life to this tool. Yeah. So this time they brought shutter angle, and when you are using this feature, that's very nice because when you change from different frame rates, you don't have to worry. I mean, it will automatically adjust to the frame rate, the shutter angle, and then you don't have to worry in the sense that, because of course if the shutter angle is not aligned with the frame rate, you might have the cadence of the image will not be like you want it. So if doing slow motion, for example, and you're doing 120 frames per second, you want 240 when it comes to shutter angle and so on. So that will be taken care automatically. What else?
I think there are some new monitoring features as well, as I heard. There you have customizable monitoring tools, for example, like position and size, and I think maybe some grids and information on the display, and I think waveform and stuff like that, which is also nice. It's always nice to see that a company cares about already released cameras, and I think it's a good sign that a company is really also taking care about their customers. Yeah,
absolutely. Good. And talking about cameras, I think it was last year, this year or last year, when Blackmagic Design announced the URSA Cine Immersive camera. That was June 24 this year. Wow, time is flying.
I think it was during the WWDC from Apple, where they basically revealed this camera, but without a lot of information. And I think
that's right.
A lot of people were quite waiting for this announcement, or at least to know when this camera is gonna to be shipped. And
so now pre-orders are open, and the camera itself will be shipped only on the last quarter of 2025. So there is still some time. And for the pre-ordering, I think they're taking the cost will be $29,000. Let me just say, almost $30,000 for the camera. Of course, it's a very niche specific use. But what is your opinion? Because in all honesty, guys, all of this immersive stuff is so far away from me. Yeah, but you were here when actually Nino, who is not here today, as you can see, because he's busy doing other stuff, was talking to another colleague of ours here from Austria about the Apple Vision Pro, and you were in this conversation too. Tell me a little bit.
I think, there was a couple of weeks ago, Christoph Tilly from MXR Production was here, and his production company, they were some of the first who are trying to bring out immersive video for the Apple Vision Pro. And what he basically told us in this episode, I think it was a very cumbersome, and
the
workflow is very difficult to achieve. In order to achieve this resolution that you can get with the Apple Vision Pro, which is, I think it's 7K per eye. So this was, I think, how what he explained was the option was you can film it with a 8K sensor with this dual lens from Canon, but you would need much more resolution in order to get the full potential out of the Apple Vision Pro. So you had to upscale the whole footage again with some tools like Topaz AI and stuff like that in order to get really the best resolution that you can get. And I think this now is the first camera that is natively shooting that, and plus also that is you get one file, one raw file with all the information, all the lens data and stuff. And I think this makes this whole workflow much more convenient. And I think people who are working with this for this immersive video, I think this is a huge time saver, and it's much more easy to work then. And I think hopefully, let's see that a lot of content now finally comes out for the Apple Vision Pro, because I think this was a real problem that it was like lacking for a lot of people, that, you know, you buy this very expensive device and then, I mean, you can do stuff with it, but in order to get the full like quality content, this was very difficult. Only a few people were able to shoot really for like the full resolution for this device, and I hope with this camera now this is solved, and we will see hopefully a lot of people moving in that direction. I think, because what I have to say, this was also the first time when I experienced and when I used this Apple Vision Pro, and I was really blown away about the immersiveness of this device. Put it on and I was okay. Wow, was never experienced something like that with, you know, all the other goggles that are on the market. This was really something different, and I hope that this will continue with this camera and will like move somewhere.
I'm very curious to see, because I think some of the reports are indicating that this device is not doing so well in the market from different reasons. So, and by the time that the camera will come out, I really wonder where Apple will be with marketing this stuff, like the Vision Pro Plus. Maybe it can also work with future devices. I don't know. But in any case, I think it's important to note that also the DaVinci Resolve Studio is supporting this Apple immersive video. So it's, again, like what Blackmagic Design is usually doing. They really try to give a complete service here and not just patches. That's right, and which is very nice.
I think this was also the reason why it took that long, probably because you don't release a camera, you also need to release or think about the whole workflow about this, and these are huge amounts of data, so this is definitely tricky also to achieve, but yeah, finally it's here.
Yeah, good guys. If you are interested in this Cine immersive stuff altogether, please drop us a note. I'm very, very curious to know if there is interest, because at the end of the day, sometimes it feels like manufacturers are trying to feed us with some stuff, like the old 3D stuff, and then there is not so much acceptance in the market from whatever reason. But if you're interested in this, please drop us a line. I'm really curious to know if you're into this and what are you doing with this. Yeah. Okay. Now, we had this week some announcements of lens discontinuation, let's call it, which is a bit surprising, but maybe not. Depends how you look at this. And the first one was from BLAZAR, the Remus 1.5 anamorphic full-frame lenses. The lenses are still there, but the company will discontinue the blue and amber flare, which is interesting. And what they will leave is this kind of silver or natural flare. Personally, I fully understand why they do this. And I think, they also said that obviously those that are being sold most are those silver flares. And in many ways, the light or the color of light that you are pointing at the lens anyway will give the flare in that color. They simply want to shift their resources and produce only those lenses with silver flare. So the amber and blue will still be there until end of the year. Meaning they will still accept orders for those, and after that they will not continue.
Yeah, probably they will like sell their existing stock and then will
Exactly.
not produce anymore.
Exactly.
But I think also understand the decision, because it must be very difficult to like managing the stock situation. You know, you have 3 different versions, and probably most of the people are taking the silver one as it works for
Different lighting conditions. Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I think
it's a wise
understandable,
decision. Yeah. And again, those lenses are relatively modestly priced, and we love the look of those. I mean, Nino actually shot a whole TV. I think it's for TV or maybe even for cinema. I can't remember, but he did something this year, and he was really so pleasantly surprised with the quality. He's also doing a review that hopefully early next year you can all watch. But first when I saw Discontinued, I was like, what? Why? But then okay, only this flare. Yeah, that's right. And in any case, this camera is this lens manufacturer is doing very well. I think they're bringing to the market nice devices. Yeah,
I think so too. I mean, with all the like the autofocus anamorphic, and they are all the how was the other called Kato lens series. So I think it's
I mean, a bit of an anecdote. When I was filming with the LUMIX GH7 and this normal zoom lens from Panasonic Leica, I also used their Nero 1.5, and of course in my mind I was hoping to get this Remus look. That did not happen. Yeah, I mean that has its own limitations. You can see even when you work with this adapter, anamorphic adapter, that the edges are very soft, really soft. But yeah, I mean, when you kind of put the image or the footage on the timeline, make sure to cut, I would say even maybe 16% on both sides.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and then it looks much better. Yeah, because otherwise it is soft. Okay, and the other news was from, where are we now? Here, from Cooke. So we have the Cooke S4 and S4i lenses, I think for the last 26 years. And of course, there is no need to introduce Cooke. Very famous for what they do, almost like industry standard, like the phrase Cooke look, yeah, which is type of warmish, very nice look. So those will be discontinued. But of course, actually it's nice. I think there will be parts and service for the next 7 years, or until there are no more components. I don't know. And there is of course a successor, and this is the S8/i. Yeah. So those are the new. Those are the lenses that will continue. This is just for you guys to know. I mean, if you're interested in the old ones, maybe you can still. Not maybe, I'm sure you can get them. Just take into account that every lens is about $18,000, just in case. Okay, and then we have Thypoch Simera-C lenses. And just a little bit about the company. I'm sure you know DZO Film. So Thypoch is a daughter company of DZO Film. They started with the Simera for photo lenses. Those are very compact, relatively fast lenses, and then they moved into the Simera-C, which is for cinema, and now they're introducing their M-mount lenses. There will be, let me quickly, 5 lenses, 21, 28, 35, 50, and 75 millimeter focal lengths, and those will be sold for around $959, let's say around $1,000 depending on the lens. And this Leica M mount of course allows greater adaptivity to other cameras, including ARRI and so on. So I think it's rather a smart move from the
Ronin 4D also, I think.
That's right.
And I think it's also very interesting because they are very small, those lenses. So I think they work very well together with camera system like a Ronin 4D. And
so. I mean, some videos that I briefly looked in the internet, I saw that the look is very nice. I mean, I didn't watch any reviews, just footage I wanted to see. Looks very interesting, and again, I have to say that it's amazing to see how the Chinese companies are really moving very fast forward with new ideas, new mounts, and better quality, much better quality. Because we said like it's easier to adapt those lenses to the RE cameras. Of course, you will need some type of adapters to LP, just that you be aware of this. It's not that you can connect it directly. Yeah, so those lenses will be sold as individuals, the 21, 28, 35, and 50 and 75 millimeter. And of course, there is also a 5-lens kit, which actually, when you look at this, the price will be $4,319. Not so bad, I have to say.
Yeah.
Okay. Felix, what else? Anything that we missed? Anything that you would like to talk about this week before we say thank you and goodbye to our audience?
We covered everything, I think, yeah.
That's right. So don't forget our giveaway. That's really important for us in terms of it's just really nice. It will be a pity if you miss the opportunity. And I think this is a bit of a shorter episode today. You know why? Just to let you guys have time to go and buy presents. I'm sure that many of you are still thinking what to buy my wife, my husband, my boyfriend, my girlfriend, and we don't want to put you in a position that you come home and say, "Hey, I don't have any Christmas present because I was listening to the CineD Focus Check podcast." So yeah, we can't take the responsibility here. But anyway, Felix, thank you very much for joining me.
Was glad to be here, yeah. No.
Different, than being on the other side.
It's very different.
Very different, yeah.
But also nice to see our experience from like this perspective of the camera. So yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer to be behind the camera, but whenever there's an opportunity or need, yeah, I'm here. Good, guys. Thank you very, very much for watching. Please don't forget to watch the video or hear the podcast. You can have it on all our
Apple Podcast, Spotify, I think,
Apple, Spotify, and so on. And if we don't meet before, have a really great holiday season. Try to relax and enjoy.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, guys.